What looks normal during the day, but scary as duck at night? Someone using a swing set. The creepy tree that keeps bumping and scratching against my window at night freaks me out, but then I wake up in the morning and realize it was nothing. I don't even have any trees in my yard. Haha, dumb. I don't even know why I was so scared. A cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito in my bedroom. Mirrors. At night, I convince myself that every movement, even my own, is a serial killer who broke in and will murder me soon. Your kid standing next to your bed. The woods. Have you ever stared into a tree line just a little too long at night? My jacket hanging on the door. For me, it's someone digging a hole. The bottom of your stairs when you're stood at the top. My neighbor's 3 little girls laughing, playing and running around in the yard. The basement. In the day the ghosts legally cannot attack you. When it is dark the ghosts can do whatever they want. There's something about flying a kite at night that's so unwholesome. A bald man in the distance wearing a business suit, apparently. Children's playground or schoolyard. The streets. Whole different ball game at night. The hash slinging slasher. My family is spending the weekend in a mountain cabin. Everything is terrifying. A round helium balloon that's slightly deflated so it's at eye level. Bonus points if it's right next to my bedroom door on my way to the bathroom. One of those inflatable tube dudes that flutter in the breeze in front of pawn shops or car dealers. Sure, they're fun during the day, but I do not need to see a demonic bendy condom at 3 in the morning. Cornfields. Around 5 PM one night, my mom and I were driving through a rural state we'd never been to before, and we wanted to visit a nearby landmark. It started getting dark. The road we were on gradually went from being paved, to being gravel, to suddenly being a narrow dirt road between towering rows of corn. Felt like we were driving through an endless maze, with no end in sight. To make things worse, the GPS kept leading us back to the same creepy building, which happened to look very cult-y, at least at night. Needless to say, we turned around and I had nightmares about it all night. Various animals with eye shine. Back in Vietnam we had a few guys wounded, so 4 of us went back to back in a field and sent the dust off with the wounded guys. The pilot said 20 minutes tops he would be back for us. We made a 4-sided star so we could see to the tree line and hold ground till Dustoff came back for us. Dustoff didn't come back. We sat in the field for 9 hours staring into the dark, checking and rechecking the claymore mines we hastily put out around us and checking our weapons. I had 311 rounds of 7.62mm ammo for my M14 and 9 rounds for the pistol. After that it was fists and knives. The entire night every branch was Victor Charles. Every noise was Victor Charles. It was the absolute longest night of my life. At first light Dustoff came over the hill and sat down 100 feet from us. We had to help carry each other as our legs had atrophied and muscle cramped so bad from the dehydration. A nice little paddy during the light. 1000 ways to die in the dark. P.S. The chopper had been hit in a hydraulic hose and had a couple dozen holes shot in it. That is why he didn't come back. The shot up helicopter with the leaks was the best chopper available. Literally the entire state of Alabama. My shoes. It's like an invisible body is standing in them. The ocean. Those waves rolling in. The horizon is gone and it seems infinite and filled with horrors. I've always wanted to swim in it at night, but it terrifies me. Schools. It's usually full of people during the day and it's normal, but street night it's completely empty and I don't like it. The sun shining in the sky. If you see that at night, it's not a good sign. Fog. Especially if it starts rolling in right before your eyes. My horror movie instincts kick in real quick. Cell phone towers. I don't know why the blinking red lights at night freak me out. Apple orchards are scary as it at night. A vacuum cleaner, especially if it's in view of your bed. My uncle had posters of heavy metal bands Metallica, Iron Maiden necked on his wall through the day. I was fine, but if I slept over, those posters would freak me right out and look seriously demonic. A door that's slightly open. Clothes hanging on the walls. Cathedrals. They look like ducking doom metal album cover artwork at night. Digging a hole in your garden bare-chested. A long straight road in a rural area with no ambient or moonlight, where it just goes off into the dark. It's a little bit unnerving. Hit every ducking thing apparently. A domestic cat running at you at full speed. Looking outside. As a teenager, my mom looked out the window and there was a man staring right at her with his face on the glass. I can't look out windows at night because of that. The back of my desk chair. At least once a week I wake up in the middle of the night and think it's a dementor. A painting of Jesus. At least as a child it was. My dad walking around the house. Edit. Grammar. Exercise. The later it gets in the gym winnows down to a cast of anorexics upstairs and steroid cases downstairs. A blinding bright light in the sky. Dressing up as a clown and then surprising a small child on their birthday. A half full helium balloon. The pile of clothes on my chair across the room. Why the duck am I reading this at night? A street with trees at the end and old buildings. It looks really charming during the day, but at night it's extremely scary to look at. The one I live by, his street light flickers on and off, adding 20 spooky points. The emptiness of my house. Roads with trees growing over them, forming a sort of tunnel. Nice and pleasant in the day, scary as it at night, especially during winter. Looking at a mirror. I get major creeped out at night looking in a mirror, to a point I sometimes close my eyes when I'm washing my hands in case I look in it and see something freaky in the background behind me. I don't know why. Windows. I'm convinced if I crack the blinds I'm gonna see someone no matter what floor I'm on. Everything. I'm ducking scared of everything. I don't believe I'm ghosts or demons in it, but I always find myself being scared of them no matter where I am. Or even sometimes during the day. Duck me. Why do I need to be such a goddamn pussy? Bought my daughter a life-size doll for Christmas one year. There's a few nights I damn near pissed my pants and karate chopped the thing. I was going to say churches, but honestly most in Minnesota aren't freaky after hours. Wooded areas in parks though, that it is scary as duck. Freeway traffic. I have no issues in daylight, but once it gets dark and I'm having to rely on headlights to figure out where traffic is behind me, I'm seriously having trouble. A chair at a weird angle always scares me until I see what it is. Freight train running at speed. I bike a lot and re-entry ride next to some train lines. A massive freight train running at 60 miles per hour in the dark is intimidating as hell. Staircases. Whenever you are walking upstairs in the dead of night you get an extra boost of speed along with the shiver up your spine as you imagine something chasing you. That chair with clothes on it in my room that I think is a person every time I walk in. Aquarium tanks. Like the deep ones. Holy crap, the thought of falling into one of those at daytime is already freaky, but imagine at night. You can't see anything except maybe the shadow of a bull shark. Deer. Especially if you don't see them until you're right up on one another. Look into a mirror at night. In a dark room. Look into your own eyes. There is something evil and dark looking back at you. Clowns. Clown masks. Clown clocks in front and above your bed even though your parents knew you were scared of clowns. Clown bed sheets even though your parents knew you were scared of clowns. The sun. Holy it, that's not supposed to be here. Me. Apparently, I'm a black guy in a hoodie. I used to sometimes lay in my parents' bed when I had a nightmare and stare at the dark shadows on the ceiling from the ceiling fan. If you looked at it just right, it's definitely a man getting ready to chop off your head with a chainsaw. Just saying. Mannequins. My old job found this itty old mannequin somewhere, so we dressed it up in an old suit and tie. some sunglasses and posed it in the window as if it was using a laptop. It was a computer shop. We dress it up for special days on the calendar like Valentine's and stuff. Eventually we rearranged the window and the mannequin was put in the back room. I can't tell you the number of times I nearly hid myself because I walked through to make a cup of tea and caught the profile of a faceless, suited man in my peripheral vision. We put the mannequin in the basement, but that somehow made it worse as I was the basement less frequently, so I had more time to forget about the mannequin before going down there. Anything that should usually have people, malls, schools, playgrounds, etc. Lack of people is usually the first sign of trouble, so that always get me on edge. A coat rack with a coat and hat on it. Streets. During the day, they're fine, but during the night, they're lit just dimly enough that there are dark patches. My imagination runs wild with everything from rabid animals to serial killers, and if I look away for a moment, I'll be dead. Maybe that's just my weird ass brain though. Oh man, it's a dead goat. Its guts and stuff are all over the place, man. Oh man. Flips light switch. Never mind. It's just a blanket. Ducking deers. They look like some type of demonic humanoid thing that walks on all fours with shiny eyes as they cross the road in front of you after appearing out of buck nowhere. My mother in a nightgown. I was going to say myself, but then I noticed the normal during the day part. So much for that. When I was in high school, I acquired a 6-foot tall wooden cigar store Indian. So, I brought the thing home and stood it in the corner of my room. Thought it looked awesome. My mom comes home late that night after I've gone to bed. So she walks past my room, sees me asleep and then sees a 6-foot tall shadow figure looming over me. I'm woken up by a blood-curdling scream. She's freaking out, and I click on the light, and she stops, and just yells at me, "What the duck, llama?" Hep, good times. I'd move it around sometimes just to duck with her. Lamps that are turned off in a dark room. It looks like a person if you just glance at it. My sister moved to a town a few minutes and every fall they have a scarecrow festival where they put scarecrows all down the main street. Well, this was going on my first time visiting her and I was unaware of the tradition. I came in at night and the first thing I saw were shadows of human figures hanging from the lamp posts. I thought, what the duck has my sister gotten herself into? Needless to say, the following year they decided not to hang them from lamp posts. Those clothes on the hair that transform into a ducking demon when you turn the light off. Flying a kite. There's something about flying a kite at night that's so unwholesome. Seeing someone push a child on a swing. Any large building that you're alone in. Church, bank, factory, warehouse. During the day it's actually really neat to be in a big place by yourself. Night, especially deep into it or early morning, super spooky. Perpetual holy crap, is there something behind me? Feeling. It's easy to make it worse. 2. I do not recommend listening to creepy podcasts and such while being alone in a building. Mannequins for sure. They scare me out of the corner of my eye. Try them beaches at night. The ocean or any other large body of water. A child swinging on a playground. Going into the middle of a spacious room and just sitting down in the middle of it. There's no problem with it on the daytime, but at night it makes the entire room feel sinister and unfamiliar. Basically every place that was full with people during the day I find to be extra scary during the night. Empty mall, empty school hall and classrooms, empty supermarket, empty hospital, empty office place. I live on a quiet suburban street, but not far from a neighborhood that had a frequent police presence. More crime, etc. I leave for work around 200 or 300 am, and it's unusual that I ever see anybody up and around outside in my area at that time of night. I was gathering my things to leave, glanced out the window, and saw a large figure standing in the driveway across the street from my house. The people who lived there were a little kid and his single mom, so I knew the person was out of place. So I watched for a minute, and the guy was just standing there, apparently staring at my house. Watched, and tried to gauge whether I could make it to my car before he made it to me. If he meant me harm, it was 50/50. Leaving also meant leaving my wife and 2 young children home alone with this large, creepy dude watching our house. I debated calling the non-emergency police number to have a squad car drive down our street or just bursting out and hopefully scaring him away. After a few more minutes, I decided to man up and head on out to confront the Buzz Lightyear standee that was propped up between 2 garbage cans. A coat hanging up in your room. Looks like a person, comma. Teen trees wrapped in burlap. Anyone who has done midnight snow removal or nighttime security will understand the jolt of turning a corner and seeing terrifying hooded monks. Thomas the Tank Engine. Looking through the blinds out my window is terrifying at night. Goats, to be honest. You think they're all cool and it with their Naruto thingy eyes until one of these duckers comes up to you at midnight while you're sitting on your doorstep. Their innocence and thoughtless demeanor just makes it creepier. School buildings hallways. There's a big white cross nestled in some trees on the side of the road on the way to my university. At night it looks like a Klansman or a ghost with outstretched arms. I knew what it was, but it freaked me out for 3 years when you're doing 70 late at night with no one else around and bam, there's a big white thing.